let's take a look at some more functions. In this lecture, I'd like to talk about evaluation of functions. So let me start with the example. Let's let f of x equal x squared minus x. It says evaluate the following. F of 2, that's how we read that. F of 2. Now let's figure out what that means. F of 2 means that we want to figure out what happens when we plug a 2 into our function. So f of 2 means the same thing as plugging a 2 in for x, which is 2 squared minus 2, which is 4 minus 2. F of 2 is equal to 2. Now graphically, we should figure out the significance of f of 2. What I've done is I've graphed the function for you. Okay, there's the function x squared minus x. You could plot this function by plotting a few points. But notice, when the x value is 2, the corresponding y coordinate on the graph is also 2. So f of 2, when you plug a 2 in for x, the y coordinate is 2. Okay, so that's the graphic significance. Let's do a couple more. F of minus 1. What happens if you plug a minus 1 into the function? So wherever I see an x, I'm going to replace it with a minus 1. Okay, so I put a minus 1 for there, square it, minus a negative 1. Negative 1 squared is 1. Minus a negative 1 becomes plus 1 is equal to 2. Okay, so f of minus 1 is 2. And we'll look at the graphical significance again. If I were to plug a negative 1 into the function, the corresponding y value would be right here. So that means the point negative 1, comma 2 is on the graph. Or in other words, if you plug a minus 1 into the function, you get a y value of 2. Okay. So there is a relationship between this notation and a graph. Let's take a look at a couple abstract examples. F of h. Okay? What does that mean? Well, that just means shove an h in for x and see what you get. F of h is h squared minus h. And you're done. Okay? Piece of cake. F of x plus h, well, that just means we're going to plug an x plus h in for x. So f of x plus h means x plus h squared minus x plus h. And we could work that out if we'd like. We can simplify. X plus h squared is x squared plus 2xh plus h squared minus x minus h. So that is also f of x plus h. Okay? Let's try another example. All right. For what values of a does f of a equal 6? If f of x equals x squared plus x. Now, let's take a look at what this means. We're given a function. Okay. It says if we put an a into our function, we get 6. So in other words, if we plug an a into our function, we must get 6. And it says solve for a. Well, again, we have a quadratic, so you have to know how to solve a quadratic equation. To solve a quadratic, we set the equation equal to 0, so I'll move the 6 over. Okay. And we could use the quadratic formula or complete the square, or this one looks pretty easy to factor, so I'll try to factor it. How about a plus 3, a minus 2 is equal to 0. Therefore, either a plus 3 equals 0 or a minus 2 equals 0. So a is equal to minus 3 or a is equal to 2. Now let's check. Okay? Let's go back and see what we've actually figured out. We've said that we found all a values such that when you plug these a values into our function, it spits out a 6. So let's check. Let's plug a minus 3 into our function and see if we get a 6. And we'll plug a 2 into our function and we'll see if we get a 6. So for a equals minus 3, let's plug that into our function. F of minus 3 is equal to minus 3 squared plus a negative 3, which is 9 plus a negative 3, which is 6. Our other value was 2. F of 2 is equal to 2 squared plus 2, which equals 4 plus 2, which equals 6. And that's exactly what we are supposed to prove. We have found the two a values that you can plug into the function that will spit out a 6. Okay? So there's really nothing to evaluation of functions. All you have to do is remember, when you see this notation, okay, what's ever in the parentheses, all we do is take what's ever in the parentheses and plug it in for x, and then simplify.